course, the other big news of the day is that the New York Stock Exchange is set to reopen at least part of the trading floor the day after Memorial Day, May 26th. The president of the NYSE, Stacey Cunningham, joins us this morning. Stacey, it's great to have you back. I know you got a busy morning of interviews. Thanks for coming to us first.
Thank you. It's great to be back, and it's nice to not be doing an interview from my laptop. So it's kind of nice to be on the trading floor, and I look forward to having you guys back here, too.
So we want to get into all the details of how you're going to do this, but I guess the first question is what led you to believe that now is the time, or that May 26th will be the time?
You know, there are a number of factors we've been very closely monitoring since we closed the floor on March 23rd. First, we wanted to see how conditions in New York City are progressing and learn a lot more about the virus. And we have learned a lot over the past 2 months. We've seen conditions in New York start to return. We're looking at what the overall impact is on the economy and felt that this was the right time to start making measured changes toward a path forward. And importantly, we are not on the other side of this pandemic, but we're not going to be for a long time. So we need to start taking measured steps to get us to a new norm that we're going to have to live with for a while.
All right. And in terms of details, it's a limited number of people on the floor. They will have to maintain distance. Don't take public transportation. Temperature checks when you walk in. Are you convinced that all of this can be done without a large number of cases in the building, or can you hold it to zero? What's your target?
Yeah, the goal is not to eliminate any single positive case. Obviously, our country is still dealing with this pandemic. There are going to be new cases. The plans that we've put in place are designed to prevent an outbreak, and certainly to prevent an outbreak on the trading floor. One of the things we focused on as we structured those plans is who's impacted most. And I think that's an important message for all of us as we're thinking about how do we reopen cities, is let's look at who's impacted most and help those people. When you think about the trading floor community, there's a mix of people that work down here each day. Some of them for independent small businesses with less than 20 people that work there, and some of them are much larger corporations. So while we're bringing back roughly less than 15% of the overall people that work in this building, it's about roughly 25% of the trading floor community, but it's heavily skewed toward those small businesses so they can get back to earning a living.
Stacey, Jim Cramer, congratulations on reopening. It's really important for America.
Thanks, Jim.
Can you tell me what it will be like? I know you're going to do physical distancing, which is terrific, but I'm not sure how that works. And will people be required to wear masks?
Yes, people will be required to wear masks, and we're going to require social distancing. And we're going to have a zero tolerance on those policies because we want to make sure that we can do this effectively. The way we've structured the reopening plans is we've started with, as I mentioned, those independent floor broker communities. They're representing orders for institutional clients around the world. And we're going to start with them because they largely aren't able to provide that service in a full way at all remotely. The market makers who are typically standing around these posts, we're going to keep them at home at first. They're larger companies, and they are able to do most of what they're doing remotely. So by keeping them home and starting with the floor brokers that stand around the perimeter of the floor, it also limits the need to walk around the trading floor. They can do a lot more of their trading in their booths. And so that's where we're starting the initial phase, reopening phase. And it's important to recognize that this is phase one. There will be phase two, but it's not necessarily a straight path. And I think that's going to be true for America, too. We're going to have to watch and learn, and there'll be a bit of a learning curve as we look at how can we put these protections in place to limit overall outbreaks.
Stacey, the most exciting part of the New York Stock Exchange is when there's an IPO and all the floor brokers are all huddled together. It's really terrific trying to feel the opening. That won't happen anymore, huh?
Well, we've been doing a lot of virtual celebrating. And so very quickly in March, we started a series of virtual calls because the NYSE community and our listed company community is such an important part of who we are. And so what we started to do was bring in experts like Dr. Scott Gottlieb or economists to speak about what's happening and what they can see. And we started to convene those virtual events in March as soon as we saw the outbreak really was spreading and people started to shelter at home. We've also been exploring and having a lot of fun with how do we celebrate IPOs virtually. At some point in time, people will come back into this building and party the way we like to do. But in the meantime, we're going to use a mixed level of mediums for the foreseeable future.
Stacey, it's David. You said in the press release announcing your plans to reopen that recent data demonstrated the trading floor saves investors millions of dollars each day by making transactions more efficient. So over the last couple of months, have investors been suffering millions of dollars in potential costs that they otherwise would not have had to have suffered?
Yes, especially around the closing auction. So our fully electronic auctions still are highly efficient, and they are frankly better than other electronic auctions out there, and the data show that. But when you add the trading floor in, you see a much larger sized bids and offers, and so it makes those auctions even more efficient. And you see that price discovery process, when you get to layer on human judgment, even better, to the tune of roughly $15 million a day. So that is a savings for investors that we're looking to be able to reintroduce so that they get that full benefit. Right now, we're offering a partial service. It's still really good service, but it's not as good as we can be. And so that's what we're looking to reintroduce.
Finally, Stacey, we're all going to have to sign a statement that we acknowledge the risks when we go back in the building. To what degree does that protect the exchange from liability? And what do you think business should demand in the way of liability protection?
You know, I think what's really important, and the reason why we're requiring waivers as well, is because of the restrictions that we're putting in place. And keep in mind, most of the people that are in this building or in the trading floor don't work for the New York Stock Exchange. So for us to say, if you want to come back, you need to wear a mask, you need to social distance, you need to agree to the protections we put in place so that we can continue to keep the rest of the community safe. And so our actions are really dependent on each other. And that's what that agreement is about for us, is to make sure that they understand, hey, we're choosing to come in here. And in order to get that access, we're going to agree to follow the new rules that are part of our new norm, at least for the short term. But probably for a while. I mean, this isn't going to be, you know, going away in the next couple months.